let's talk about the one thing that keeps a lot of people at the lower end of how much they can make in their jobs, or the kind of places you get to work in. And really, I'll focus this on jobs, but it actually relates to a whole bunch of areas in our lives. I'm going to share some of my story while I'm discussing this, so hopefully you get something useful out of it. And it's called the anchoring bias. Before we get into that, my name is Onyeka. On this channel, I talk about how to grow your money, how to improve yourself in your career and your personal development. So, first of all, so what is anchoring bias? It's a cognitive bias, and it simply means that we tend to take initial information we get about a thing or something, and then we use that as an anchor point and rely heavily on it when making future decisions or any subsequent decisions. Quick example I use with my financial clients is, if, for example, the first time you bought a phone, a really good phone, it costs you, say, $1,000, £1,000. Subsequent times you have to buy a phone, you're going to use the 1K as the anchor price for what a good phone should cost. So if it costs, say, £1,500, you're going to think of it as being too expensive. And if it costs lower than that, you're going to think a few things. Maybe the quality is not good enough, or it's a bargain price for you. So that's really what the anchoring bias does to us. Now, how does this relate to work? Sometimes we find that when you have your first job, you tend to think of future jobs based on multiples of the first salary you earned in your initial job. I'm going to talk about how this affected me. I had my first job on a 20,000 naira salary. I was living in Nigeria at the time. I worked in a small audit firm, and in 20K. After about 3 months, it became about 25,000. And then I worked there for about 6 years. And the 6 years I worked there, I think the highest salary I earned was about 120,000 in 6 years. That is too long to be in a place, by the way, if you're not particularly growing. Exactly. So the point though here is that after I earned 120K in a 6 year period, when I began to look for new jobs in your company, I was anchoring the salary I would get based on the 120K salary. So I would look for jobs that pay me around 150 to 200,000. That was where my mind was going to as a sensible place. But the truth was that there were people who started their first job and their initial salary was the 120K. And people like that are looking for future jobs. In 6 years, they'll probably be earning about maybe 200,000 upwards. And then they would anchor the next salary they want to earn upwards of 200,000. So you see basically how the bias I had was affected what I was asking for and looking for in the market. Before I go on, please just like this video if you're getting value out of it, and please subscribe so that other people can find my channel and learn. All right. Now, think about this in terms of other areas of your life, really, but focus a lot more right now at this moment on your work. Another way to think about the anchoring bias is, I started my job in a small firm. Sometimes we begin our jobs in one kind of company, and then we think that that is the limit that we are able to get to in future jobs. I began like a really small firm. You know how audit firms are? They have like small firms, mid-class firms, and then the big fours. And so I would look for jobs in other small companies or medium-sized entities. I wasn't really thinking about the big fours at the time. But eventually, I came to terms with the fact that my mindset was being limited by where I had started from. And so what I began to do was to apply for jobs that I didn't even qualify for. Look, there are companies that tell you, you need a first class to apply here, a minimum of a 2-1 to apply here, which is what the big first do, by the way. I didn't have either of those things, which is also one of the things that was limiting me. I thought because I didn't have, that class of degree, then I couldn't apply to those kind of companies. But eventually, I sort of made a small shift in my mindset, telling myself, number one, I became chartered during my 6 years in the initial company I worked with. I was a chartered accountant. It's in demand in the market, basically. I am smart. Like, my degree, my class of degree does not represent, honestly, how smart I am. I am really smart. And I'm going to be an asset to any company I work with, right? So I began to think of myself in that manner, and then began to apply to companies that I didn't even qualify for. So I would apply to BUA, I'd apply to KPMG, PwC, Deloitte. Like I learned about the big four, not just an application there for the audit departments. I got so many rejection mails, like so many, so many. I did actually get interviews for a few. I know the point I'm trying to make here is that don't limit yourself. The stories we tell ourselves sometimes, and a lot of times, influence what we allow ourselves to dream of and have. And honestly, I'm going to tell you right now that you are capable of so much more. You deserve so much more, and you can make so much more out of your salary. Every single time you go to check the average salary online before you apply for a job or before you go for an interview, you tend to anchor what you're going to ask for based on what you see. Every single time you ask somebody, oh, how much do you make in this role? You tend to anchor what you ask for again based on what you see. So what I try to do personally is when I go to sites like Glassdoor or Indeed to look at salary range, I do not anchor what I ask for on the median, on the average of the range of the amount stated there. I look for the upper end. I search things like what do the top 1% in this kind of role earn in this place? And then I ask for that. Or I ask a little bit higher than that. So we eventually land at that point. And I'm not doing this because I absolutely think that they must give me that amount. What it's doing is I'm creating the shift in my mind to teach me that some of these things are not impossible. Because I mean, there are human beings here who are in the kind of jobs you want, who are making the kind of money you want to make, who are in the kind of roles you want to be in. And honestly, why wouldn't you think that you're capable of being in that space too? That's how I think about it. And I feel like if you can just make this small shift to your mind, this small shift to how you search, this small shift to how you look at information and what you do to it, you vastly increase how much you make. So this is me. I began working in 2013. This is about 12 years of my career. From earning 20,000 naira with a tutu in a small audit firm. Today, I've worked in currently two big fours. And then I went from working in Nigeria to getting a sponsored role in the United Kingdom, again in my class of degree, making more than the average in the city I live in. So it is not impossible. You just have to stop believing that you cannot have that or that you are. I mean, I've seen stories of people who are from schools that big companies do not ask for, and they worked in Google and Microsoft. So really stop thinking small, stop limiting yourself, get the heck out of your own way. Your anchor is a lie. It is a bias in your mind, and it is a bias you need to actively fight against every single day. And that's how you're going to make it. At least it's one step towards how you're going to make it. Hope this helped you. If you're looking for how to earn high income skills to actually get more confident about applying for those kind of roles, those kind of salaries that you really want, then watch this video I linked in here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget again, hit the subscribe and like button and share this video with somebody else. See you on the next one. Bye.